Why isn't everyone as successful as they want to be? It's not a lack of training and knowledge. The internet is breaking down those barriers. In the past, people used to have a huge unfair advantage because they had access to information, tactics, and strategies that others did not. This helped the elite, successful people stay that way. Now those walls are coming down. Information is universally accessible. In the age of the internet, we can no longer point to lack of training and knowledge as a real reason people aren't able to succeed. So what is it? It doesn't have to do with motivation, drive, and determination. The myth perpetuated by the self-help industry is that the mega successful people out there have tapped into some level of passion that is unimaginably powerful compared to the way we mere mortals like you and I are motivated. It's as though you somehow desire success less strongly than those millionaires. The truth is, the vast majority of aspiring entrepreneurs all have a drive and hunger for success. So that's not what's separating the winners from the losers either. It's also not location nor education. In the past, the Ivy League was the first step for every tycoon. Now it counts against you. A Harvard MBA is a path to an office job, while the biggest companies are being built by dropouts. Where you're located in the world, that's less and less too, as the internet breaks down those geographic areas. None of these things I've mentioned are real obstacles or reasons for failure, and yet people are still not succeeding. There's still something that causes an overwhelming majority of entrepreneurs to fail, and that thing is execution. Our ability to overcome hesitation, complacency, and stuckness, to transform our intentions and goals and ideas into concrete results. That P word in the first video. At Sincera, we first caught this concept when we were looking into the state of overwhelm, something literally thousands of entrepreneurs complain about. What we discovered is that overwhelm begins right when an entrepreneur sets a goal or thinks up an idea of something they want to do. A precarious tightrope balancing act with disastrous overwhelm on either side. Let me show you what I mean. Let's take the audacious goal of climbing Mount Everest as our example. It's a big challenge and a great metaphor for the big, audacious goals that entrepreneurs dream for themselves. Everybody has a personal Everest. The problem with the goal, climbing Mount Everest, is that it's incomprehensibly huge as a challenge. Right there, the goal itself is overwhelming. There are so many parts to it, such preparation and thought that is required that our brains can't even grasp what a goal really means. If we set goals like this, we slam straight into overwhelm almost immediately. If Everest is one huge hulking goal on the other end of the spectrum, we could think of the tiniest baby steps required to begin on this goal. In this case, taking a single step up the mountain. Here we encounter the same problem, but for the opposite reasons. There are precisely 58,070 individual human-sized steps required to climb that mountain, and taking the first one is doable for anyone. The knowledge of how many more there are to go is utterly overwhelming to everyone. Now, you may not have set a goal of climbing Everest, but you'll see in a moment just how easy it is to get overwhelmed in one direction or another as an entrepreneur. What we discovered is that about 8% of entrepreneurs are capable of unconsciously sidestepping this problem in a way that seems so simple on the surface, but it's marvelous on a psychological level. The entrepreneurial elite have an uncanny knack of arriving at something that behavioral psychologists call ideal implementation granularity. It's the perfect psychological sweet spot between the suffocating overwhelm of tiny detail and the crushing overwhelm of enormity. For our Everest goal, it'd be like setting a goal to get to base camp, a feat worthy of pride. It's doable and perfectly positioned to set yourself up for the next step. Everest is something we can all relate to. Some of us may know of someone who attempted one of the various camps or the summit. But make no mistake, it's hard work that involves solid planning, resources, and physical and mental toughness. My friend Luis here prepared for months to accomplish the feat of Everest Base Camp. At Sincera, we figured out that the ideal implementation granularity was a binary difference. You have it or you don't. Between elite entrepreneurs and people stuck in struggle, we knew we had found our first two pieces. For the sake of clarity, we call it specific and realism. That's really what it is in the simplest sense. The most effective entrepreneurs on the planet have this intuitive ability to break goals and intentions into the perfect sizes. Literally, as the ideas occur to them, they automatically set goals and make plans of sizes that their brains can actually grasp and get motivated by. Sizes that are realistic and can never overwhelm. They hit the right level, pitch perfect every time. And the scary thing we discovered is just how crazy life could get for people who missed out on a natural gift for being specific and realistic. If there's anything we can all relate to, it's the effort to get in great shape. It doesn't matter if you're trying to lose weight or just boost your fitness and health. The problem with that is that it requires a ton of work before you see concrete results. Now bear with me, this will all become clear. People who want to drop a few pounds have to exercise and eat healthy for a minimum of 3 or 4 weeks before they notice any real change. Psychologically and neurologically, there's a big problem with this. You see, our brains are designed to sabotage the hard work we do when there isn't a reward. It's a survival tactic to save us from expending valuable energy. The reason people can't stick to diets or exercise regimes is that they have to work hard for a long time before they get the rewarding feelings that come with results, and they usually don't make it that far. The bad news for entrepreneurs is that working to build a successful business is a much, much longer cycle than shedding a few pounds. You could potentially go for years before you get that big payoff. We all know that consistency is the 10,000 hours to mastery principle, and it really pays off. But we are reminded as to what a terrible drag it can really be. How many cold calls do you have to make? How many marketing campaigns do you have to test? How many product ideas do you have to enter again and again before you find the magic formula? It's too easy to bend down and give up before that happens. And too many smart people, unfortunately, end up that way. We call this phenomenon the action-result gap, and it's hugely discouraging. The thing truly worth doing in life, like building a successful company, have the biggest action-result gaps. Our brains simply aren't good at understanding delayed gratification. They want to feel good now, and if we can persuade ourselves to invest in the action-reward gap, our brains tend to get more and more anxious about whether or not the reward is actually coming. We found that the superstar elite had a single behavior that enabled them to completely negate the effect of action-result gap. The superstar elite applied measurement to every single goal that they set. And here's how it works. The game of measurement actually becomes, in brain science terms, a form of extrinsic motivation. They push through where others always give up and then get the actual real results, and they feel even better. Sometimes the application of this is breathtakingly simple. Jerry Seinfeld, a true member of the elite, famously applied it and attributes it as a key factor in becoming a world-famous comedian. He forced himself to write a minimum of a joke a day at the start of his career, even when they were terrible, and he built a habit of doing it by checking off each day on the calendar when he wrote one. He actually described feeling excited about hitting a 7-day streak and wanting to keep it going, pushing for the month streak and beyond, even several months in his career when he was still going nowhere. However, he was feeling great about building a streak, and several years of hard work eventually paid off to make him one of the most successful comedians of our time. He got his 10,000 hours and built a remarkable skill set and a body of work. That brought him enormous success. Anecdotal evidence aside, is serious neurological way behind the power of measurement. At Stanford University, they showed activity in the brain's insular region, literally a part of the brain that lights up when we see, hear, or experience something distasteful. What the researchers went on to show was that this mechanism activated and predicted a powerful behavior change, i.e., a big use of it when people were exposed to methods of monitoring and measuring their performance around the goal, particularly a financial gain. One of the researchers actually said the first two steps in self-control, setting a goal and monitoring your behavior, and knowledge that you'll have to put down a number, will discourage procrastination. Seinfeld's measurement has a measurable neurological effect that proves to motivate people through a powerful kind of self-awareness around how they're doing. So we know that specificity and realism destroy overwhelm and make your goals, even as you set them, massively easier to process. And of course, measurement is what keeps you going when you're working on something difficult. Thanks for your review, and when time permits, check out our Smart 2 for the rest of the pieces.